Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you might be watching in from. Welcome to another edition of Crypto Happy Hour or Crypto Sad Hour or whatever you want to call it right now. Obviously, the market, the cryptocurrency market, and actually the general stock market as well, has been getting crushed today. So let's talk a little bit about everything that is going on in the space. Talk a little bit about some of the FUD or fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or just general negative news in the cryptocurrency space, and a lot of the other things that are going on, so that you can hopefully be as educated as possible. Maybe it'll help you relax a little bit. Maybe it won't help you relax at all. But we can definitely get into all of those comments and everything like that as we get through this. So hope you guys are having a good one. It's the day after Super Bowl Sunday, so I had a long weekend. I'm going with some nice Poland spring water and really going nuts on that. So hopefully if you guys are drinking something nice, you're enjoying it. But let's get into all of the news today. And if you have money in crypto, if you have money in Bitcoin, wherever it might be, you've been getting your butt kicked over the past day, over the past week. I mean, you could see crypto is just hovering below $7,000. Hasn't been a great time for a lot of people. But as I'm looking at these markets, there are a number of things that people are trying to attribute to the decline in prices. There are a number of things, and we'll get into all of that. We'll talk about all that, and obviously I'll answer all your questions and everything like that as we go through. But just looking at the Bitcoin chart in general, I mean, it's ugly, it's disgusting. It doesn't look pretty by any stretch. So I've seen a couple different things, and there's a couple different areas in which people are trying to kind of point to, like, hey, this is why the dip is happening. This is why the dip is occurring. This is an article here from Forbes.com that is, in my opinion, not the best article, but this is the type of thing that's circulating online. This is something that people are saying, hey, I think new individuals, oh, what's up, David? Hey, on the side of my screen. But this is something that new individuals are looking at in the crypto markets right now. And basically, this article boils down to 3 points. It says, number one, banks are banning crypto credit card purchases, which is true. Retailers are avoiding Bitcoin, and they point specifically to Stripe as one of the companies that has stopped accepting Bitcoin payments, as well as some other partnerships as well, Microsoft being one of them. So that's another thing. And then lastly, they point specifically to China. Now, all three of these things I would debate pretty easily, in my opinion. Number one, you might think of, at this point in time, you might look at the banks and be like, hey, the banks are banning crypto credit card purchases because they're scared. That might be true, but it's also not like good practice to buy crypto on a credit card. Like it means you're buying it on CoinBase, most likely. You're paying a 4.5% fee just to acquire that cryptocurrency. And then if you don't have the money in the bank, there's a decent percent chance you're going to pay interest on top of that. So that's kind of dumb news in the first place. Like, I don't know. Buying crypto with a credit card is stupid. Don't do it. So number one, not that big of a deal. Number two, yes, Bitcoin is running into issues from a scalability perspective. Stripe has basically stopped Bitcoin. Stripe has basically stopped Bitcoin payment purchases. Microsoft did, I believe. I don't know if that was full time or if that was kind of all in all, but sorry for the disconnection issue. I think we should be good to go again here. But the use of, let me just make sure this is good. Sorry about that, guys. So the actual use of Bitcoin from a purchasing perspective, yes, that's drawn back a little bit. But Segwit, Lightning Network, and Lightning is not going to solve everything, but it's definitely going to improve upon a number of things as well. So I don't think that that's the biggest deal in the world. And then lastly, China. Like the China FUD just gets hit on and hit on and hit on. It's beaten like a dead freaking horse. So I don't think that the thing going, basically the FUD going on about China, I don't think that that's the biggest deal in the world. China basically banned cryptocurrency and basically banned buying cryptocurrency back in September, and people are finding loopholes. Now they're shutting off the loopholes. It is what it is. So I don't think any of that is that big of a deal. Now, another thing that you can look at too from like a FUD perspective, or some of the reason people might be panicking and looking at this, is the CFTC and the SEC are talking with Congress tomorrow. If you're in the US, maybe you care about this. If you're not in the US, you might be like, I don't give a crap what the US is doing. But all in all, the U.S. is the CFTC, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, is meeting with Congress tomorrow, I believe in Washington, D.C., because where else does Congress meet? But there are so they published some pretty detailed documentation before this meeting. This is a 71-page PDF that the commissioner or the chairman of the SEC put out. If you want to read it, I'll link to it. You might not give a crap to actually read it, but I'll link to it here in the description, the PDF here. But summing it up, so Tushar Jain is an analyst at Multicoin Cap, one of the managing partners there, and he had some pretty decent insights. So for the most part, the statements that they had and they put forward were not bad statements by any stretch. They weren't terrible. They weren't bad. So overall, his read was pretty positive. It was, there's not going to be an ETF approval on the horizon, but they do indicate specifically, I think they do indicate really the promise that blockchain and distributed ledger technology can have in the industry. They realize that they can't stifle growth here, and they understand a lot of the inherent risks of overregulation, it seems like, in my mind. And I think Tushar had said some similar things. I'll post the status here if you want to check his notes out on Twitter, but I thought they were pretty solid. And I think, summing it up here, he says, it's obvious to me that the American regulatory agencies are doing a great job of understanding the impact of blockchain technology and are taking a measured approach to regulation, unlike foreign regulators, aka China. And they want to provide clarity ASAP. So that is something that when you're looking at that, a couple different things. I know a lot of people hate regulation. I'm not a big fan of regulation. It is what it is. But somebody said it's moved to next week, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But looking at that, I do remain happy with, we'll have to see exactly how that meeting goes. But if there's bullish, if there's positive things that are said there, then that could be a pretty big impact to the market, in my opinion. So we'll have to see what ends up happening with that scenario. Now, I'll take some questions here, so I'm looking through some of these questions, and as always, if it's something that you absolutely must have answered, throw in a super chat, but I will definitely get to as many of them. So it sounds like the meeting is postponed, so I appreciate the updates to that. I am not always able to stay ahead on everything, so I appreciate the heads up on that for sure. Mark Gibb, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Hope you are having a solid day so far, brother. So a lot of people are saying, talk about the whales, talk about the whales. So I mean, when you're talking about that, I don't think, lol at all of you who invested into crypto. Yeah, Adam, yeah, it sucks, bro. Bitcoin, what do we got here? But talking about whales, so number one, I think a lot of the conspiracies about whales can be different. There are definitely people, there are market makers, there are people that can significantly move the cryptocurrency markets. There are also institutions and hedge funds and companies that can really move markets in the space, especially with such a lack of liquidity. But it's also something where, I mean, that's not advertised. You don't really know specifically what is happening, and a lot of that is pure speculation. So yeah, who knows? All I hear is talk and no proof. Beluga whales, that is exactly what we're talking about. Somebody keeps saying talk about Richard Hart. I have no idea what the deal is with Richard Hart. So let's not answer that question 7,000 times. So taking a look at some more of these questions. So somebody said I've been buying it every day for the last 3 weeks. So kind of my thought process right now, and I talked a little bit about little bit about it on Twitter today, but I have no idea how low this dip is going to go. I have no idea how far this dip is going to go. So with that taking into consideration, I looked at this under $7,000 today, and I acquired additional. So I dollar cost average in on a continuous basis, regardless of what happens in the market. However, I looked at this today and I saw it under $7,000, and I kind of liked that range, and I took a dive in at $6,900. Granted, right now we're a little bit below that, but I feel comfortable acquiring more Bitcoin personally at under $6,900. So I still have additional fiat ready to go beyond that. If it goes under $6,000 or $5,500, I'll probably take another look and probably dive back in there further as well. But I have been acquiring more crypto on the dip, correction, crash, whatever you want to call it. So that's something that I've kind of gone into at this point in time. Somebody said, do I think ETH pyramid? What do I think of ETH pyramid? I put 3 ETH in stupidly, maybe 100 today on divs. I have no idea, but ETH pyramid sounds like a pyramid scheme. I can check on the other screen here, but it doesn't sound promising. The ETH pyramid scan. Better. Why? Oh my God, folks. Why would you put money into this crap? Literally advertised as a self-sustaining, secure, and transparent pyramid scheme. If you haven't learned from BitConnect, if you haven't learned from Devor, pyramid schemes don't last in crypto. Pyramid schemes don't last in the real world. They don't last in crypto. They don't last. Stop thinking every pyramid scheme is different. Stop thinking that there's a trading bot or an algorithm. Every pyramid scheme is blatantly, obviously, what's up. The world is not anymore the way it used to be. Actually, the world is exactly the way it was before. When a pyramid scheme is a piece of shit, a pyramid scheme is a piece of shit. So, hey. ETH pyramids does look really legit. Take your money out. Get your ETH out. I don't know, Mark. What's up, Naima? Appreciate that super chat very much. Thank you for that. Super nice of you. I always get triggered by it. Looking at some more of these questions. Hopefully, let's get some legit ones in here, folks. I'm not talking about any more pyramid schemes. So, one nice question here. Would you say this dip is ultimately good to trim the fat, aka money in shit coins? I think there's always going to be people putting money into crap coins, into shit coins, whatever you want to call them. However, it's going to be a lot less profitable, and I think there is going to be a point in time where you are going to have, people are going to be looking at, from a fundamentals perspective, kind of concentrating their investments in better places than something like, in better places than something like a quote-unquote shitcoin. So I do think that it is going to pull, a lot of these shitcoins are going to be harder affected than some of these other ones. But somebody said anything but Bitcoin is a shitcoin. I mean, you can argue that. You could argue against that. Some might say ETH isn't. Some might say Litecoin isn't. Some might say Monero or Zcash. I don't want to argue what is and what isn't a shitcoin. I think there's some that are pretty obvious. But, who knows? Anthony Kuhn, what's up? Please take an objective look at Profit Trailer. So I've heard about this a bunch. I haven't done any research into it. I can look at it in more detail, but my general thought on trading bots in the market is that, at least for me, anytime that somebody has a trading bot, the majority of personally, if, like I said, I've said it a bunch, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I had a trading bot that literally printed me money, I wouldn't license it out to people, because there's either two things you can do with the trading bot. If you make a ton of money with it, you can use that all to yourself and you can exploit that gap in the marketplace, or alternatively, you can sell that trading bot to people because you're not making as much money with the trading bot as you might be doing something else. So I can definitely take a look if you guys really want me to experiment with it, but overall, I'm not super positive on something like this, because I think if your trading bot is that sick, if it's that awesome, you would not license it out. It is more efficient to utilize it yourself. Somebody also said, you've been calling sell-offs as corrections up until now. Are you changing your tune? I mean, it's all semantics at this point in time. I've had somebody comment and yelled at me today. So they're like, yo, you called this a correction. This isn't a correction. This is a crash. Yeah, I mean, crypto is down 60+% for the most part, wherever you look. So yeah, you could certainly say this is a crash. Crypto is also up however many percent over the course of the past 6 months to 12 months. So if you look at it on a long-term basis, it's correcting from its all-time highs. If you look at it on a short-term basis, it's a crash. I don't really care how you phrase it. It doesn't make a damn difference in my opinion, but yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you suggest for newcomers during January? I find it best to get knowledge and try not to time the market. Feel like best I can do is to hold. It depends on what you're in, because holding can be a great strategy. It can also be, depending upon what you're holding, it can be crappy. But I personally am not one that likes to time the. I personally am not one that likes to try to time the market for the most part. I mostly, run fundamental analysis. I've definitely made some. I've made some plays in the past where I've timed the market. I've sold. I bought back in lower. I've also had some times where I've sold and then the market has gone up. So I have tried to time the market. I know a lot of people do, but. For me, and I think if you're asking that question, for the most part, if you're asking, hey, should I try to time the market or should I not? You're probably one that is guessing if it comes down to timing the market, and you might be better off holding in that scenario. So you just need to look at yourself in the mirror, see what you're comfortable with, and see like what level of research that you have in the game, and if you are really comfortable kind of absorbing these hits. Because I mean, holding sounds great, but you look at crypto right now and you got a lot of these cryptocurrencies down significant percentages. You got Ripple down 82% from its all-time high, Verge down 82%, Civic down 82%, Tron is down 90% from its all-time highs. I mean, those are rough numbers for sure. Those are really, really rough numbers. Devin Shaw said Ari Paul 6,000. So Ari Paul predicted, and it's sounding like it. I mean, we got to get to 60,000. So that's a problem here. But Ari Paul, about a month and a half ago, said, hey, I think that Bitcoin is going to trade at both $6,000 in 2018 and $60,000. Well, we're in the $6,000 range as of this time. Now we got to get to $60,000. But that's kind of the way I am, the way I'm looking at it right now is I don't think that the all-time high for Bitcoin, when I zoom out at these charts, when I look at these charts and I look at the amount of money that's coming into the space, that is a ridiculous pump up and then subsequent drop. But when I look at the money in the space and I think about everything in the long term, I don't think that the all-time high of crypto is going to be $20,000. I think we're going to see at some point in time $25,000 Bitcoin, $30,000 Bitcoin, potentially $50,000 Bitcoin. And if that's the case, if I am dollar cost averaging here at $6,000, I'm getting in at a significant discount. Granted, there are significant risks. The price could continue to drop pretty heavily. I mean, when you look up at this run up, this chart wouldn't be so bad if this didn't happen all the way. If this run up didn't go pretty much completely parabolic, but we've fallen back just as hard, just as fast. So taking a look at some of these questions, did you read the white paper of Zencash? What's up from Germany? I have not gotten a chance to go through the Zencash. I've not gotten a chance to go through the Zencash white paper as of now. Chris, I will take a look at my email to see if I could get that as well. So sorry about that. Chris, if you got a question, definitely shoot it in. I can't see it on my email, so apologies on that. But yeah. So somebody said, how do you feel about day trading crypto? Day trading crypto can be profitable if you know what you're doing and if you're an experienced trader. If you have no idea what you're doing, I would not recommend it. That's my personal opinion. I think there are definitely people out there that understand the game, that understand what they're doing, and on the perspective of if you're asking questions like, "Hey, should I day trade?" That is definitely something that you either know you're ready to day trade or you're not, or you should be doing a significant amount of research and preparation before you take 10 grand and say, hey, all I got to do is, make $200 a day with this 10 grand to live for $70,000 a year. It doesn't work like that. So somebody said about a month or so ago, you said you haven't sold anything. Are you going to cash out your chips? So no, now I'm not. I didn't sell anything for fiat. I think I bought a nice jacket and I bought a laptop, and that was about it. The rest is all in crypto. And it would have been a smart move to sell a lot when it was at $19,000 or $17,000 and try and buy back in lower. I didn't make that move. To be honest, a lot of it was due to taxes too. I didn't want to take massive capital gains taxes in December and then have to owe a lot in taxes. So a lot of that was due to, and maybe a dumb move at this point in time when you look back in time, but that is, somebody said, liar, you bought beer. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, anybody looking back and saying, yo, I'm just holding, it would have been much better to sell if Bitcoin's at $19,000 and when all these altcoins went on these incredible runs in December and in January. But most people weren't doing that. And it's tough to try to call the top. But, and I think a lot of people are pretty bullish going into 2018. And for the most part, 2018 has not been a great year so far. Kyle Babcock says, have you ever seen Venture Coinist log channel? I have seen the log channel. It's definitely an interesting way of approaching it. I really like Luke from Venture Coinist. Sharp dude. I think I'm actually going to collaborate with him on the YouTube channel at some point in time. So working on getting him on or joining him on his show. But I would love to have him on because he has a really interesting insight into the market. And I dig the way he approaches it. So somebody's saying the market tanked because of Ty Lopez. Somebody said, liar, you bought buffalo chicken wraps. I indeed did buy a buffalo chicken wrap today, so that was dope. Crusader General, what's up, brother? Great to see you as always, and appreciate the super chat. The market is crashing because people cashed out to pay for your trading course. I indeed do not have a trading course. So if you're buying a trading course from me, it's not from me. But no, I mean, I do think that the psychology of the market is really interesting. And this was kind of a stupid joke that I put on Twitter before, but it's really incredible how people at like $19,000, how much people were just pumped up and excited to be throwing money into crypto, like taking out mortgages, throwing money into crypto, doing all this stuff at $19,000. Now that Bitcoin is trading at a 60, what do we have here? At a, what do we got? Now that Bitcoin is trading at a 65% discount from its all-time high, everybody's like, yo, I'm not touching this stuff. I'm not touching this stuff. That's part of the reason of why I went in today. I'm acquiring at a 65% discount. Could it go down to 80%? Could it go down 85%? Could it go down 90%? Absolutely. So I'm not going all in now. But on the other end of the spectrum, you're still acquiring it at a 65% discount from its all-time high. Historically speaking, and granted, history is not always an indicator of the past, but historically, or excuse me, that did not come out right at all. History is not always a direct indicator of what's going to happen in the future. So let's take that with a grain of salt here. But every single time, historically speaking, with crypto, every time there has been a correction, at some point in time, the crypto markets, whether it's taken 10 days, 30 days, 60 days, or as long as like 480 days, the market has come back. So I'm betting on that. That's what I'm betting on right now, is that the market is going to come back, and I don't need the cash that I have in crypto anytime soon. This is my play money. This is my shoot for the moon money, and that's what it is. I am not counting on crypto to pay my bills. I am not mortgaging my house. I don't need this to pay anything. This is just kind of the way I'm approaching things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily mean anything on that end of the spectrum. And somebody says you have to say you're not a financial advisor and invest at your own risk. Yes, I have made that very clear in every video. I am not a financial advisor. Invest at your own risk. Yeah, don't fucking do that. This is all my personal opinion for entertainment advice. But yeah. Chris Y, F you, Bobby. Let's see, was that Chris? Mention your chat again. I can't see it always. So just post your question in there. It got lost. So apologize on that. Somebody said RIP to my capital gains. And let's see here. RIP to your capital gains. Yeah. No, there's still gains, but yeah, for the most part, there's still gains. Do I like Polymath and the concept of security tokens in general? I do think Polymath is really interesting. That is, they were somebody that was a pretty heavy presence in. Somebody's saying, "Holy crap! Don't talk about ETH pyramid, please. God, no." But so what do we got here? Polymath, excuse me. Polymath was a pretty heavy presence at the Bitcoin Miami conference. I had a chance to talk to their team quite a bit. Liked the approach that they have to say. I think that securitized tokens are going to be a big thing. I think that I don't know if Polymath is going to win that. I think that their partnership with T0 could be a pretty big thing moving forward. I have no idea if they will win that or not, but it is something that I think they have a pretty solid chance of doing it in general. So I'm excited to see. I have no money in Polymath. I think they just had their tokens become tradable, I believe. So yeah, taking a look at some of these questions here. Somebody said, is there something big happening tomorrow regarding crypto? So there was supposed to be, and again, this apparently this has been delayed, but there was supposed to be a meeting between the CFTC as well as supposed to be a meeting between the CFTC and the SEC and Congress in regards to cryptocurrency, ICOs, and distributed ledger technology. So that has not happened. Apparently that's getting pushed off a little bit. So we'll have to see if that is if that's going to happen or not. But that was probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest things in terms of the market movements as well. Somebody said, Carolina said the meeting's been postponed to February 14th, Valentine's Day. Nothing like a little bit of cryptocurrency talk to crash your Valentine's Day. So thanks a lot, Congress. I appreciate that. Old school gamer Rick, what's up, dude? What should I buy in these times? BTC, ETH, other. So again, I'm not a financial advisor. It depends on what you have the highest degree of conviction in. I think now is the time to, in my opinion, if you are looking to buy in, then go in for the opportunities and the investments that you have the highest degree of conviction in. That's especially now. I'm looking at consolidating. I'm looking at, hey, what do I have the highest degree of conviction in? What do I think is going to do the best for the long term? I think Bitcoin, I'm very positive on Bitcoin. I'm very positive on Ethereum. Obviously, they are the two biggest ones, but even outside of that, just looking at some of the other, opportunities. I've been evaluating NEO for quite some time. I don't have any NEO, but the decentralized exchange cryptocurrencies out there, 0x as well as AirSwap, they look very attractive at these points as well. Somebody's saying Bitcoin private. That might be one to take a look at as well. It depends. You just have to figure out. I can't make that determination for you, but look at what you feel like is going to have the best, most successful future, and take a dive. Take a dive in. So somebody said your thoughts on headline Qtum or Quantum launches the first ever blockchain node into space. So I haven't seen that headline yet. I haven't seen that headline yet at all. But I don't know. A little far out. I think Blockstream was doing that. Didn't Blockstream already do that for Bitcoin? I thought they put a node into space at some point in time, or somebody else is trying to do that. So I don't know. It doesn't sound that. It's cool, but doesn't make it move for me. So Jacob M, interesting point. Is retail investing dead? Will the public be too afraid after this very public correction, or will they simply chase the wave again? So how I envision things going down, and I think how a lot of people end up running in this scenario is people buy in. You know, you look at, so zoom out here. This is, I mean, granted, there's a lot more than just Bitcoin. So there's a lot more to the markets than just Bitcoin, but generally speaking, the markets kind of can mirror, the overall markets can mirror Bitcoin in a lot of respects. But generally speaking, and I can definitely tell you from the growth of my channel and from a lot of things that I know associated with crypto, the crazy times were like November, from really like Thanksgiving all the way up to Christmas, January timeframe, where everybody was getting in, and you know, people are buying, and that's the time like people were rushing into Bitcoin after it went up however many percent. Like let's say Bitcoin went up over the course of, we'll take it from the China low, Bitcoin went up 400%, 500%. People were rushing to get into Bitcoin. And now that it is down, now that it has crashed, it has corrected, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people on Main Street don't have, and a lot of retail investors, a lot of people on Main Street don't have as much interest in it yet because they don't see all their friends talking about, hey, I'm making 400, 500% on a daily consistent basis. So I think a lot of people, I think a lot of the retail investors, I think probably a lot of people that watch this channel are going to, if this is an elongated bear market, a series of pain where you're not making that 10% a day, those 400% gains, those 1,000% months, whatever it might be, a lot of people are going to leave the market and try and find the next big thing or whatever. And also a lot of the some of the dumb like BitConnect promoting YouTubers who are pushing anything and everything will go away as well. But I think that the people that stick around, and it's not always the same thing. You can't just look back historically speaking, but the people that stuck around during all this stuff, that during the extended bear market from late 2013 all the way through like 2015, are the individuals that really crushed it in 2017. So I'm excited to be here for the long term, regardless of your thoughts on it. So Crypto IOTA, appreciate the super chat there. Nguyen, what's up? Big fan. I mentioned AdBank 2 weeks ago. I think you misunderstood what they're doing. Just listed on KuCoin, solid team. Advised PivX and the CEO Polymath. So do you mind taking a look? Sure, we can take a look. And then we'll pop into, we could talk a little bit about Coinbase as well. So we'll just see here. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that these guys might have been at Bitcoin Miami as well. I could take a little bit of a look. I believe that, let's see here. Did I see these guys? They have a nice website. I'll give them that for sure. So I think these folks spoke at Bitcoin Miami. That's definitely a possibility. Let's see. I think they might have. I'll have to look into it in a little bit more depth. Actually, maybe not. But yeah, they have some solid advisors. Yeah, Trevor's the CEO of Polymath. They have some other folks on board as well. But I'll have to do a little bit more due diligence into these folks. I haven't read the white paper yet, but it looks interesting enough. I have some knowledge in terms of the advertising game and the whole Facebook ad game. I don't know if it's really something where I think there are a couple different companies out there that are trying to kind of take the middleman out of advertising. I don't know if that's, literally middleman free. I don't know if the middleman is that much of a detriment to advertising by any stretch. So I'll have to look into it a little bit more, but I appreciate the insight onto this one, and I'll give it a look for sure. 10 Bell Salute, what's up, man? Thanks for the great content. Anyone ever told you look like Rob Gronkowski's the long-lost twin brother? I am not 6'5" or 6'7" or a stud Pro Bowl wide receiver. I might be a little bit, I think, hopefully a little bit smarter than Gronk. He's definitely a lot more athletic than me and a lot richer than me, so he's got the leg up on me regardless. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Thoughts on KMD, Komodo, and Polyswarm? I like Polyswarm a lot. I know they pushed back the ICO, but I've been in communication with the Polyswarm team after the interview with them. I like the team at Polyswarm. I'm a fan. It's not my investment advice because it is what it is. But if you're not in the US, I do think Polyswarm is an ICO that could potentially perform well. That's my thought process on it. I do know a lot of people that are pretty positive and bullish on Polyswarm. So I would take a look at it, do your own due diligence. If you didn't hear the interview that I had with Steve, the CEO of Polyswarm, I would take a listen to that. But don't know too much on Komodo just yet, so I can't really give you a solid determination on that. But I'm a fan of Polyswarm. So popping back over. So looks like the dip continues. The dip, the crash, whatever you want to call it. This is not pretty, not fun. No matter how you slice it. If you got a lot of money in, people are saying $4,000 Bitcoin. Shout out to Prince on the Crypto Street podcast like a week or so ago when we're on the podcast, and he was like, yeah, I think we're going to see $4,000 Bitcoin max pain, and we all kind of laughed at him. We're like, whoa, dude, relax, bro. Relax. Let's not go too crazy. So looks like ETH Pyramid is up in here spamming the chat. So if anybody wants to talk about ETH Pyramid, if you guys want to talk about ETH menstrual cycle one more time, I will slap you on out of the chat. That's for sure. No more pyramid schemes. I'm done. And the Texas SEC is done with you as well. I like to call it the dippening. Yeah, everything is in the dippening right now. Everything is in the dippening. So somebody said Credits ICO, 1 million transactions on the Neo platform. I met the Credits team in Miami at the Bitcoin conference. I spoke to them. To be pretty frank, I wasn't super impressed by the Credits team. Myself and another one of the guys from like the meetup group that I meet with a lot, that's super sharp. He literally does ICO research full time. We went up to the Credits booth. We were talking to him, introduced myself, and then I said, my buddy asked, hey, what's your deal? They were advertising a ton of transactions per second and things like that. Like, what platform are you built on? Are you built on Ethereum? Are you a DAG? Are you built on some type of like Ripple tech? Like, what are you built? How are you built on? What are you doing? And they were like, you know what? It's just kind of some proprietary stuff. We're just gonna have millions of transactions per second. Blah 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 blah. And they like couldn't explain it. So as far as the Credits ICO, I know a lot of people asked about that. Just for I haven't done a ton of diligence outside, but like sometimes you can talk to somebody for like 5 minutes and you can just get if they get it or if they don't. So I'm not massively like all in on. I wouldn't myself personally. I'm not going to touch the Credits ICO. That's me personally. Somebody said maybe they are a rep of the company. I mean, they were literally a rep of the company. It was like one of the employees, but that employee really couldn't articulate why. It's great to say you can do 1 million transactions per second, but if the person standing at your booth can't articulate how you can do 1 million transactions per second and the tech you're built on and everything like that, then So your thoughts on SXUT Spectre.alt? Let me take a look. Not a trading bot. It's not the Tuma. Let me see if I can peep that. So I don't know too much about these folks. Brokerlist financial trading platform, kind of what the deal is. Actually, no, these guys have been brought up before because I remember seeing Arcane Bear here. So they're not on very many websites, but I remember seeing Arcane Bear. There are a lot of trading platforms that are coming up, so depends on if they can actually execute on this. Sounds like they've been around for at least a little bit of time with a private alpha, but I haven't gotten a chance to use them or beta test them, and until that happens, then I can't give you too much details as far as really my overall thoughts on these guys, unfortunately, Dinesh. So apologies on that. And then there was another comment there. Derek Horton, what's up? Yeah, so I actually talked about the SEC and the CFTC chairman came out. I wouldn't say in strong favor, but it was a positive tone in my opinion. Definitely a positive tone. So I did like the approach that the SEC and the CFTC were taking. So I was happy about that. I did talk about that previously. It sounds like that got pushed back. The meeting with the SEC got pushed back until Valentine's Day or December 14th. So something to take into mind. Do I work for Zero? I'm a fellow accountant. No, I work for a larger company that's kind of, I guess, a step up from Zero. Have I looked into quantum resistant ledger? I have not yet. I am talking to Charles Hoskinson on Thursday. And I know they are looking into building quantum resistance into Cardano. So I really want to get his thoughts on that too, not just about Cardano, but just generally speaking as far as quantum resistance goes. So I will hopefully that'll be a nice little bit of an update and we can kind of get into that in more detail. Somebody said, wow, just bought 10 Bitcoin because you said it's going up today. Yeah. Smart move, bro. But if you buy because of the GIFs I post on or the GIFs I post on Twitter, you need help. I hope that was a joke comment. And then what do we have here too? So Curtis Gebbers, what's up, brother? Long on XRP and XML and holding long term for tax reasons. If Bitcoin hits 2,000, I will stack up. What should I stack up next? WAN chain, Neo, ETH, WAN, when available. WAN chain could be an interesting one, I think. So I don't believe it's out yet. I know the mainnet launched, but WAN could be an interesting one because the entire market's gotten crushed. So that's going to be trading at, I would assume, at a pretty fat discount to everything. And that could be an interesting one to take a look at for sure. Sith Rocker says, get a job. I do have a job, sir. You get a job because you're typing in all caps. Kyle Babcock, whose hair is better though, yours or Luke Martin's? Definitely Luke's. Luke's got flow, man. So taking a look at some more of these questions here. Somebody said, what's up? Are you considering selling your AirSwap 0x and Alpha at this point in time? No, I'm not. If anything, I'm very confident, or I feel pretty positive about AirSwap 0x and Elf, all three. I could certainly be wrong. But I would say I'm extremely confident in AirSwap and 0x. I think that they're both, decentralization technology, or DEX technology, decentralized exchange technology, is going to be a really positive thing in the future, and I do think that they will both do well and both have a legit shot at success in the marketplace. So I'm excited about that. I'm actually I'm supposed to schedule, I think it's supposed to be on December or February 14th, trying to set up a conversation with AirSwap. So working on that at this point in time, but that should be pretty fun once that gets straightened out. Pretty crazy that they're literally ETH pyramid bots in here. Like, they're definitely bots or people. This is ridiculous. I need to get an admin. So, taking a look at some of these questions here. Do you read one white paper a day? I definitely try to. So somebody said, is there another YouTuber you can recommend to us noobs trying to better understand crypto? It depends on what you're trying to better understand. I mean, there's kind of a YouTube account, or there's a YouTube channel out there for everything you're trying to learn. Some people make content very often. Some people don't. Some people, I think, are kind of shills and just make clickbaity crap. Some people have extremely solid content that's very educational. Like a couple of different people have said Venture Coinist. I think he's really solid. I would definitely check out Venture Coinist. Somebody said Doug Polk is funny. Doug Polk's hilarious. I met Crypto and Bitcoin Miami, so Crypto is a good dude as well. And then somebody saying you'll learn nothing on YouTube. There are definitely people out there that you can learn from. Coin Mastery is a good dude as well. You just have to take bits and pieces. I mean, not everybody, I'm not an expert by any stretch. I don't ever try to be an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert. Just kind of like to share some of the experiences that I have and how I learn, and hopefully my successes and my failures. So if I do have success, you can look at that success and either learn from it, or if I fail, you can definitely learn from that. So I don't think it's correct that you can't learn anything on YouTube, but I also think there are definitely better places to go to learn from as well. The only person I listen to is Crypto Nick. That might be a problem because Homeboy doesn't have a channel anymore because he got grounded. I love the troll comments. Love the troll comments. So a couple different people have mentioned what are my thoughts on Ripple. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of Ripple, of XRP. I mean, I could pop this open. I think Ripple is probably one of the most legit companies in the crypto space when it comes down to actually having an organization in place, executing on that. I think Ripple is probably the most legit company. On the other end of the spectrum, though, there's a lot of questions in regards to whether or not you actually need to utilize their token. If you actually need to utilize your token or the XRP token to leverage the software and leverage the Ripple platform. So I'm not massively bullish on Ripple long term. But I know a lot of people are invested in Ripple and might not like to hear me say that, but it kind of is what it is. So I like to shoot it straight. I mean, where I'm bullish in things, you might not be as well, but Ripple had an incredible run and it's falling down just as hard, although pretty much everything across the board has. You could say the same thing about Cardano, which I like. You could say the same thing about Tron, which I really don't like. And you could say the same thing about basically everything. So who knows? So looking at some of these questions here. Somebody said, any idea of IOST? I haven't looked into IOST too much at this point in time. Not something I've really done a ton of diligence into. So any kind of specific comments on that probably wouldn't be the most educated thing in the world. The next thing, thoughts on Cardano here. I definitely still have some Cardano in the portfolio. It's gotten murdered like everything else for the most part has. I mean, if we pull back on US dollar tether, I mean, that's an ugly chart. it hasn't found support at all. So Cardano hasn't been pretty in terms of price action, although, like I said, nothing really has. I got into Cardano at 3 cents, and it's at 30 cents, so 29 cents. So it's still 10x. However, I mean, it went up to $1.30. It was a lot more than 10x. So, but I'll find out a lot more on that conversation on Thursday with Charles. So that should be awesome. I'm excited for that. Definitely excited on that for sure. Myra, appreciate the super chat. Thanks a lot for that. So taking a look here too, I think a couple people have said some things. We'll pull it up here. So Diego said, and I hope you're kidding, is anybody else crying themselves to sleep every night like myself, or am I alone on this? I'm definitely not crying myself to sleep at night. It does suck to, you know, open up your Blockfolio or open up your Delta app and see how much poorer you are on paper in comparison to basically every other time, or in comparison to the past month or so. So that has not been, it's not been enjoyable. But a couple of the different rules and tenets that everybody always preaches, but they don't always make sense, or, you know, not everybody follows them, is never, number one, never invest more than you can afford to lose. You can literally see that right now with a lot of these cryptocurrencies. I mean, if you bought the top, and there are definitely people that bought the top, but if you bought the top of something like, you got excited about Tron, you put $10,000 into Tron, that $10,000 is now worth about $1,000. If you bought the top of Ripple, if you're like, hey, it's going to be the next Bitcoin, it's going to be the next banking coin, you bought the $10,000 of that, that's worth less, you know, that's worth like $2,000 at this point in time. So when people say don't invest more than you can afford to lose, it's literally like, it's not a lie, because you could actually, I don't think it'll go to zero, but there's a decent possibility that you can pull a BitConnect and have $100 in it and have it go down to $1. So you have to be careful, and you literally, like, I am very much a proponent of the only financial advice I will give in crypto is saying don't invest more than you can afford to lose, because there is a pretty decent possibility that it could go down very, very significantly. And if you are not built for that volatility, if you can't handle that volatility, it is not a fun experience at all. At all. And somebody else said rule number 2, take profits at 3x. So yeah. That's kind of my ICO game. So my ICO game too is, if I participate in an ICO, a lot of times what I'll do is I will take profits, but I'll actually move them back into Ethereum. But I will take profits at, like, depending upon how positive I am on an ICO, but I might take profits at 2x or 3x and scale out of the position, leave a little bit, maybe leave a little bit of my initial investment in there. But yeah, I mean, taking profits, that's another thing in crypto that a lot of people point to in a negative manner and say, yeah, you know, you have weak hands if you sell, or if you take profit. You don't have weak hands if you take profit. Profit is profit, no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what anybody tries to say, profit's profit. So never let anybody tell you taking profits is a bad thing. So somebody said holding bags of bread and Edu. Any thoughts which has better potential? So I don't have too much of an insight into Edu. I do have a small holding of bread. Bread has been one of my worst performers. Bread has, I think, actually definitely been my worst performer. So that is that's definitely something that I haven't loved recently, and I've kind of been considering ditching my holding of bread. However, I haven't, but it's gotten absolutely murdered against ETH, against pretty much anything else. So that is that's definitely something that I'm looking at right now. And when I talk about consolidating my crypto positions into what I have the highest conviction is in, probably I like bread, I like the company, I like the team, but as far as conviction of being the strongest thing that I could put my money into, bread is probably lower down in the totem pole for me right now, as far as interest there. So taking a look at some more of these questions here. Kyle Babcock, you are now a moderator, buddy. If you ever want to kick anybody out, Kyle, it's up to you, man. I bestow upon you the power of being a moderator. There he is. If Mike Kessler's in here too, I'll make you a moderator as well. I thought I already did that, but I guess not. So somebody else mentioned here, are you still shoveling money into crypto? So I dollar cost averaging regardless. That's kind of one of my tenets, because I am bullish long term on crypto. I am. I could be wrong, but again, this is my moonshot bet. I think that either it's going to crush it, or I'm going to look back and say, hey, this was a fun time in my life, and crypto went down a bunch, and at one point in time, I had a bunch of money in it, and now it's not worth crap. But I don't want to look back and say, hey, I wasn't ready for this opportunity, and I missed out on it or something like that. So as far as shoveling money into crypto, I dollar cost average on a disciplined basis. On pretty much a daily and a weekly basis. However, today, like I said, I dove in a little bit harder into Bitcoin at the sub $7,000 range, at the $6,900 range. Fortunately, maybe it would have been more beneficial if I waited, because it's at $6,500 now, but it is what it is. So somebody mentioned Greg Hunter YouTube channel with Cliff Hyas predictions of $64,000 and $100,000 for Bitcoin in 2018. I mean, those are, anything's possible with crypto. Like literally anything's possible with crypto. Anything's possible with Bitcoin. So I think that I think anything really truly is possible. Would I love that to come true? Would I love $60,000 Bitcoin? Yeah, because I would be a lot wealthier than I am today. Do I necessarily believe that that's going to happen in 2018? No. I wouldn't bet on it, but again, I am not betting against it. I'm not shorting the market, and I'm probably not going to sell on the way up either. So I guess if anything, I'm kind of betting towards that. So we'll have to see. What do you think about Theta starting what they say are a YouTube killer and the joint venture with Sony Samsung? I haven't dove into Theta too much, but I kind of am doubtful anything is going to be a YouTube killer from a decentralization perspective. I know there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other things out there as well, but yeah, I'm a little bit doubtful, though it could be an interesting one to take a look at in more depth. There are definitely some tokens out there that are kind of attacking that YouTube or this YouTube space, which you're watching me on right now. So there are definitely some tokens out there that are attacking this space, and it should be interesting to see where those might go. Big Chin, what's up, man? Did the same thing and about to buy more. Yeah. So thoughts on Loyal Coin? They just finished their ICO. Have a very responsive team in the Telegram, and company has existing big clients. I haven't checked out Loyal Coin too much. Let me pull them up on the other screen here. See what the deal is with these guys. Loyalty, customer loyalty on the blockchain. Another thing that I don't necessarily know even off the top, just if that needs to be on the blockchain or not, who knows. But I guess if they have existing partnerships in place, if you like the team. I haven't done enough research on them yet. The website's not loading at this point in time. I don't know if it's the website or if it's my internet. I guess it's the website, not my internet. So yeah, I don't know. Loyalty points doesn't exactly scream to me shooting for the moon. Maybe a little bit more of a niche business, but that doesn't mean niche businesses can't succeed. Somebody said Dash Masternode a viable option now at a greatly discounted price. I mean, a Dash Masternode is still pretty expensive. So if you can, if you can handle that, then it could be an interesting play. But Dash Masternodes they're not cheap. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, if you're still in that, what's up, David? If you're still looking at that and kind of potentially diving into that, I think you'd want to do a little bit more research on that than just kind of asking me that question, because there's probably a lot more to that game. And you'd want to really run those numbers and see what you think the potential of Dash is in the long term. So one quick super chat there. Would you do a little air swap versus 0x comparison and talk about which one you like more and why? So personally, I have both 0x and air swap in my portfolio. I like both. I've had a tough time determining which one from a tech perspective, which one from an execution perspective will do better. So I own both. I think it's certainly possible that you could own both. I think AirSwap is significantly smaller in terms of its market cap, and I like AirSwap because of that as well, but 0x has outperformed AirSwap. With that being said, there is one good video. Jackson Palmer, if you guys follow Jackson Palmer, but Jackson Palmer made a great video on decentralized exchanges that I would highly recommend you check out. If you go on, basically, if you go onto Jackson's channel, or if you just search Jackson Palmer, if you search Jackson Palmer decentralized exchanges, he has a 20-minute video that talks about Ether Delta. It talks about Kyber Network. It talks about 0x. It talks about AirSwap, and it talks about kind of how they're built and gets into that in really nice detail. And I think Jackson does a fantastic job breaking things down in a fairly easily digestible language. So I would recommend you take a look at Jackson's video. So that's definitely something I would do, but I could also think about making a video on there. Luke, thank you, appreciate it. Two thoughts there on Litecoin. Something about LitePay, LitePal. So I haven't checked out those in too much depth, but I mean, as far as Litecoin for a viable currency for mass adoption, I don't know if Litecoin is going to be the cryptocurrency for mass adoption. I don't know if Litecoin is going to be in the long run the cryptocurrency for mass adoption. I don't know if that's Bitcoin. I don't know if it's something that is in existence yet, or if we're even going to have mass, from a payment perspective, cryptocurrency adoption. I mean, at least in my opinion, one of the things I think personally is I really don't think that there's that much friction in some of the payment methods that are out there right now, whether it's credit cards or some of the other things. So I do think that there has to be a lot of improvement in the usability of something like Bitcoin or Litecoin, speed, fees, whatever it might be. So I think that it's not necessarily a question of like, is Litecoin capable? I think it is more a question of like, is the crypto market actually going to get a piece of the payment method in person? Like, are you really going to go to are you going to go to Burger King and say, hey, I'm going to take my phone out and I'm going to pay you with Litecoin? Are you going to do that when you are potentially speculating on the price of Litecoin at the same time and betting that Litecoin might be whatever, $100 something right now, and in the future it might be $400? For me personally, I look at a lot of cryptocurrencies as speculative assets and as bets on future tech potential. But And while it's kind of funny because Bitcoin was built to be peer-to-peer digital cash, it was really built to be digital cash. The use case, or like the primary use case of it, has evolved a little bit as well, to that. And one thing here too, so I haven't talked about this yet, and I think this is certainly something interesting, and we probably want to talk a little bit about it. But Coinbase is in the final testing phase of SegWit for Bitcoin on Coinbase. That is, in my opinion, that's positive news. Some people hate Coinbase now. They really don't like it. It is what it is. But the fact that Coinbase is actually going to be rolling out SegWit compatible Bitcoin send and receives in the next few weeks, that's a really positive thing. I'm excited about that. So regardless of your opinions on Coinbase, this is something that really needed to happen. It had to happen, and finally Coinbase is doing it. A lot of people are saying, hey, what the hell took them so long, whatever. I think they definitely did take longer than most companies. I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't, but I think people like to hate on Coinbase, and to be honest, I don't think the market would be where it's at, or would have gotten to where it's at without something like Coinbase. That is such an easy. Yes, there are issues with it. Yes, there are sometimes difficulties, but it's right now, at least, it is the best fiat on-ramp in the US and in a lot of other places as well. So is Robinhood coming out and providing much needed competition? Yeah, for sure. But Robinhood's also only launching in 5 states. So there's only 5 states where you can buy Bitcoin and Ethereum with Robinhood. So I'm not in one of those states. Most people aren't. So that's something that you want to just take into account when people are, looking at it. But yeah, somebody, Kyle said, needed Robinhood to launch to force Coinbase to come better. I couldn't agree more. Because Coinbase is basically sitting at the top of the hill and nobody else is coming out with competition. And now Robinhood is coming out and competing in a solid way. And the one thing is, a lot of people always ask, at least me, is they say, hey, why isn't anybody competing against Coinbase? Because it's expensive. You need millions and millions of dollars for legal fees, for regulatory requirements. There is so much knowledge and capital that you need to build up there. So I think that it's not easy to compete with Coinbase, but one of the companies that can do it is something like a Robinhood that is very, very, very well capitalized. Somebody's saying Bitcoin is dead. When people start saying Bitcoin is dead, that's when I buy Bitcoin. That's when I buy more Bitcoin. That's when I buy more cryptocurrency. When people say it's dead, and it's funny because just you can get such a good feel for human emotion and like the psychology of people, but it's so funny that everybody is so excited to buy crypto when it's up 400, 500, 1,000%. And when it dips 60, 65, 70%, I mean, some of the cryptocurrencies that have dipped 60, 70, 80%, I think probably deserve that. We're incredibly overvalued and basically pieces of trash. But I think that when you when you look at something like potentially a Bitcoin or some of these other ones, and Ethereum and some of the more established cryptocurrencies, when you're like, yo, it's dead, it's it's like that's when it's appealing to me to make moves into it. That's when I am excited to buy, because you just have to do the opposite of human emotion. Sup, Dentacoin. Somebody said like ADA wink. I won't sit here and say ADA hasn't gotten crushed. So Nathaniel Drew said, hey, do you think the recent stock market correction changes things for crypto? Less potential investors? I've yet to see any compelling data as far as the correlation between the stock market and the crypto markets. With that being said, the crypto markets are so new that any correlating data or any data that people are trying to correlate isn't necessarily, I don't know, the accuracy of it might not be there. So I'm not, at this point in time, I don't see any specific indication that there is a correlation there. So I'd have a tough time doing that. Maybe some folks say the same thing. But yeah, people are saying, even the stock market has had some big dips this past week. Stock market lost over $1 trillion in value. The stock market went down. Granted, it only went down a little bit in terms of like crypto, but the stock market went down way more than the entire valuation of the entire cryptocurrency marketplace. Somebody's saying Bitcoin rising, go to GDAX. I don't know what you're looking at GDAX, but Bitcoin is definitely not rising. So this is literally GDAX. This is it, gentlemen. So taking a look at some more of these questions here. Raphael said, when will you be doing the interview with AirSwap? I believe it'll be second week of February, most likely, or like February 14th is what we're shooting for now. What do you think of the token trader? I haven't gotten a chance to use their token trader yet. So I've used some of the products that have been built off of the 0x protocol. So I've used Radar Relay and some of the other ones that have been built with 0x. I have not used the AirSwap token trader yet at this point in time. So let's see here. Somebody said, is there any place to see the Bitcoin whale accounts if they're loading up more? I mean, I'm sure you could dive in, but for the most part, I mean, a lot of the quote unquote whales I know also do over the counter trading. You know, they're not going to have that completely visible on something like GDAX or some of the other exchanges as well. So, I mean, if a whale wants to, if somebody who has a significant portion of cryptocurrency wants to make the market move or wants to sell some of their position, they're going to do that for the most part, outside of the Ethereum flash crash from back in like June, July, when that went to zero. That was incredible. But outside of that, I mean, they're going to do that in a pretty intelligent way. So thank God for the day job, right? So taking a look at some of these things that are happening right now. Give me a second here. Somebody said my Pigeon ICO is the only legit coin left in the space. I would tend to agree. I mean, Pigeon coin is very, very solid. I think it's got good fundamentals. Definitely good fundamentals. Do you think your channel will die along with Bitcoin? Yeah, I think it's just going to be dead. I'm going to be making videos for nobody. I'm definitely making videos for nobody. I'll keep talking. I'll talk to the wind though. If only the wind wants to hear me, I'll keep talking to the wind. So we'll be good. We'll be good. Aaron, what's up, dude? I used Gemini to buy Bitcoin today. It's nice because you can trade immediately once you deposit from fiat. You just can't withdraw until the transfer clears. Yeah, it's a nice feature of Gemini. That's definitely one of the things I think that they have a leg up on in terms of Coinbase/GDAX. So the fact that they credit you Bitcoin immediately, and just don't allow you to withdraw it, I think is a pretty smart move on Gemini's point for sure. That is excellent point. Somebody said, weren't you here in 2013 talking to yourself? I didn't have the channel in 2013. I did start a Dogecoin podcast in 2013 that was short-lived and didn't have a ton of success. I think I maybe got like 50 listens on the old Dogecoin podcast, but my talking voice wasn't that bad, to be honest. So yeah, my talking voice, it was a pretty solid podcast. Doge to the moon. One Doge still equals one Doge, and I'm definitely happy about that one Doge. Zoom in a little bit here. So it looks like there goes 65 hundo. Yeesh. Well, maybe I should have waited before buying at $6,900. Hence why I didn't go all in. All right, let's hear this. With 2,185 people currently watching, what do you think the Bitcoin bottom is? Let's see it. I want to see some comments. What do you think the Bitcoin bottom will be? $5,001, $3,500, $2,000, $558. Those are fast comments. I can't read this fast. 10,000, 1,000, 2,000. Oh my God. 5,000, 47,000, 4,000, $3. I like it. $5,120. $5. 0.0001 cents. Apparently that's what every economics professor and economist and Joe Schmo out there in the world is saying. And as you guys are answering, if you are new to the channel by any chance, I do daily videos on the subject of crypto, as well as these YouTube live crypto happy hours. So if you'd like to join for more videos, definitely hit the subscribe button, the notify bell. That way, the next time I do go live, you get that get the opportunity to join from the start and get a little notification when I do go live. So definitely hit that Yeah, somebody said this is hectic. Yeah, I think I almost just had a seizure. And I'm not prone to seizures, so I think I almost just had a seizure. But hit that subscribe button, would very much appreciate that. And if you have been around for a while, hey, hit the like button. That'd be awesome. 3 buffalo chicken wraps. I might need a shot of whiskey tonight. I haven't drinking anything. I was like, you know what? It's the day after the Super Bowl. I'm gonna relax. I had some beers yesterday. I had a wedding this weekend. Drank a little bit this weekend. Enjoyed myself. I indulged in some food and some booze because it's the Super Bowl and I had a wedding. And now I'm looking at these charts. I'm like, I should probably drink a little bit more. The one kind of funny thing though too is when I'm dollar cost averaging, and I'm sure if you ooh, that sell volume's nasty. If you DCA in at any of these points, the amount of Bitcoin or the amount of crypto that you can buy now in comparison to what you could buy previously with fresh fiat is kind of funny. Like, back when I was, and again, I dollar cost average pretty much continuously. So when I was dollar cost averaging up here, like $1,000 doesn't get you very far. $1,000 might be, $1,000 is what, 0.05 Bitcoin back at the peak. Right now, $1,000 is a lot more than 0.05 Bitcoin. So that has been, that's been enjoyable for sure. Hey, are you going to Bitcoin private meetup in New York? So I don't know. I think I'm meeting up with my my buddies that I usually have a little meetup with at some point this week. That's really not a meetup. It's like 6 dudes that sit around a counter or sit around a table and have coffee and or beer and talk about what crypto that they're interested in, what crypto that they might be hearing rumors about, what potential ICOs that might be going down, all that good type of stuff as well. So that's definitely been interesting to kind of participate in, basically to participate in all that as well, and kind of get a feel for like what's going on with the markets. So those meetups that I have and that I go through are usually super, super valuable. And I enjoy that. So, is this fake? No. So thank you, Dallas or Bust. Please hold on to this $5 for me in case the IRS doesn't believe I lost everything. Hey, capital gains taxes, capital gains losses. So you can take that L in your taxes too. You write it off. So somebody's saying, so I guess people are saying, what's your thoughts on the low here? My guess, let's say my guess is $5,000. If I had to guess what the low that we'll see with Bitcoin, and again, anybody that says anything, you could look and you can look at a lot of these, you can look at a lot of this, a lot of the market action, and people can point to charts, they can point to fundamental analysis, they can point to historical comparables. Some of it might just come down to round numbers. Some of it might just be, I don't know, who knows. But if I had to guess, I would say $5,000 might be maybe the low we'll look at here. Could we hit that? I think for sure. Could we go below that? Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea. I'm just kind of throwing out numbers. Mike Peck, how many of you tubers, there's actually not a dash in between you and tubers, told you to sell in the last 30 days? No wonder why. I don't really know what the point of that is. I just like the tubers. Interview with Charles is actually going to be on Thursday. Somebody said, would I move to Puerto Rico? I don't know if I'd move to Puerto Rico, but they are definitely growing a little crypto community down there. I've talked to a lot of what you might consider to be Bitcoin millionaires, Bitcoin multimillionaires. I've talked to a lot of people in the space that are either moving to Puerto Rico or evaluating and have evaluated going down to Puerto Rico. The reason being the taxes are crazy favorable. I think there's 4%. I think the taxes are like 4% flat on revenue or on income. So it's like in the US, you might be paying 30, 40, 50% taxes. In Puerto Rico, you might be paying 4% taxes. Yeah, there was a big article on in the New York Times about Brock Pierce going down to Puerto Rico and creating this crypto utopia haven, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'm sure that they have, I'm sure that they're doing nice things down there. I hope that they are, because it would kind of be disingenuous if they're just going down there to save on taxes and not actually doing anything. Because I know, just in talking to people, some people have gone down there and looked at potentially moving down there full time and have been turned off by just the overall. It's not, it's the U.S., but in some cases it's not as, with the hurricane has taken a big hit on it, and there's a lot of other things. So it's definitely taken a step back, and living there is not, I would say, the same thing as living in most other metropolitan areas of the U.S. So certainly something to think about. But yeah. Lambo in Puerto Rico. Somebody saying it doesn't matter where you live. If you are a U.S. citizen, you pay income taxes. I mean, you pay different taxes based upon where you live in the U.S. That's not necessarily true. Like, if I work in Texas or if I work in Florida, I get paid a lot less than when I work and live in New York City. There's definitely differences when it comes down to earning and living in the U.S. Living in New York City is not different, or you are paying significantly more taxes than you are if you are living in, if you're living in Florida or Texas or a place like that either might not have income tax or something like that. Also, disclaimer: I'm not an accountant. So taking a look. We'll hop out of the accounting talk, though, because I don't want to say anything that's stupid. So there we go. Matt Short says U.S. There we go. So U.S. territories, Puerto Rico, Guam are not subject to federal taxes as they are not a U.S. state, which would explain the fact that you might pay 4% tax in Puerto Rico, whereas that federal tax might be 20, 30, 40% elsewhere in the U.S. So that would explain it. Yeah, I'm not jealous to be McAfee if this all goes down. He's gonna have a fork and knife to his own genitalia, so that's not going to be fun. I hope for Johnny Mac's sake. I also hope for my portfolio's sake that he doesn't have to do that. But it should be primetime television. Maybe there's maybe he could stream that on like DTube or some crypto place. DZ Zoggy, what's up, man? We are all McAfee. What is this about? It just came on. We're just talking about John McAfee's genitalia, and that's whether or not it's going to be edible and eaten on mainstream television. That's really what we're talking about. That's the crux. So I've been on here for about 90 minutes so far. Most of the conversation has been about McAfee. What's he gonna have as a side for that? I'm thinking maybe like some roasted Brussels sprouts. Maybe some asparagus. I would think he'd want to go more veggies, not on the carb side. The veggies might give it a nice, leafier taste as well. Does he get to use like some A1 or a side of ketchup or anything like that? I mean, that's the big question. That's what you really want to concern yourself with. Or, you know, nice lemon wedge, get a little acidic on that. Oh, Jesus. All the people signing off like, yo, what is this guy talking about? Okay, and cool. I meant to say the Bitcoin private conference in NYC. Can you check out at Bitcoin private on Twitter? Would be fun to see you there. Yeah, so I know what you're talking about there. So the ZCL fork Bitcoin private. If I can actually spell. So I guess they're having a meetup in New York. Yeah, I could definitely do my best to. Okay, Saturday. I don't know if I'll go on Saturday. We'll have to see. So, downtown Marriott. I'll see if I can make it though. But who's speaking? Sometimes I like to have my weekends for my weekends, but yeah, we'll see if I can swing that. Should be. I know they had one in Texas, I believe, recently. Tizen and those dudes, I think, hosted that in Texas, so that's pretty cool. Somebody said cocktail sauce. That's a solid joke. So we've now broken $6,400. This is fun if you want to define fun in different manners. But yeah, so when I started this stream, we're at about $7,000. We are now down about $700, about 10% over the course of the stream. So you're welcome for being terrific luck, folks. Welcome there. But this is gonna be fun. Brado Jacko, SEC testimony looks good. Initial thoughts, initial analysis on the SEC testimony or on the SEC comments on the CFTC. Definitely solid stuff. On the other, on the other spectrum, I believe this is getting pushed back until the commentary from the SEC is getting pushed back. So you might have to wait after tomorrow, but we'll have to see. All right, guys. Well, with the way the market is going right now, I think it's probably best for you folks if I get the heck off this stream, because over the course of the stream, we've dropped about, like I said, 10% or so. So I think for your sake, hopefully I can get off. And unless you're short crypto right now, which maybe some of you are, but unless you're short crypto, you're probably not liking what you're seeing here. So I'll hop off. That'll probably be the time to buy, because not financial advice, but I'm terrible luck. So we'll have to see how that ends up panning out here. I'll probably be available hanging out on Twitter. So if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, let me post this here. If you don't follow me on Twitter, it's crypto_Bobby. I post GIFs all day long and don't do all that much else. So shoot me a follow on Twitter. Would love to see you guys there. As somebody said, Crypto Bobby streams always crash the market. That is absolutely the case. That is absolutely true. But yeah, I will see you guys soon. Hit that subscribe button, the notify bell if you are new to the channel. And if you've been around for a while, would love to have you hit the like button so that the people after that didn't get a chance to watch this live are getting an opportunity to see it later. So hit that like button if you've been here for a while. Really do appreciate the time. Best of luck. Hopefully the bleeding stops. I have no idea. We'll have to see. Take it easy, folks. Peace. Looks like the price is rising now, so you're welcome, folks.